Greetings, Glitter Gang, and happy Thursday. Welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. My name is Kathryn, and this is a show I do twice on most Thursdays where we craft live. So the project we're working on now is our quick and easy Coffin album, which was our Halloween project. And where we are in the project is it's completely matted. So now we're going to do like a second pass through and think about where we can add embellishments and things of that nature. So that's what we're going to be doing. Today is Thursday, November 17th. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving, so there won't be any classes next week because of Thanksgiving holiday, so that you can all spend time with your family. For those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, and for everyone else, just, I guess, have a good week. You can spend time with your family anyway, I guess, if you like them, if you want to. So in the never-ending saga of like only bad things happened to me in the second half of 2022, I have re-aggravated a really old injury. I mean, it's like over 20 years old, more like 25 years old at this point. When I was in college, I broke this thumb and tore this ligament, and it didn't heal right. And so even though I'm right-handed, I've always do kind of baby this hand. So like if I'm going to fall, or if I have to push up off of something, or if I'm going to pick up something heavy or whatever, I always do that kind of stuff with my left hand. And my right hand, I just do like stuff that requires precision, I guess, more than anything else. And I don't know how, but something I did to this hand aggravated where in high school I broke this thumb and tore this ligament. So the exact same injury, just it healed right on this hand, which is why this hand is a little bit stronger. But something happened, and I can feel it's here. I can feel it here. So what I've done is I've splinted my thumb, and this splint will hold my thumb like in a neutral position to rest that ligament, and it's already doing much better. But I had taken the splint off this morning to see if I would be able to do the shows without it, and nah. No. So we'll see how well I do without really full use of I can use my fingers on this hand, and I can pinch, but my thumb doesn't have the strength. I'd have to push against my thumb with my finger. So we'll see how I do. Other announcements, I would say yesterday was my brother's first full day home. So he's been released from the hospital. Good grief. He's there almost 4 weeks total, in the ICU over a week, in the regular hospital like close to 3 weeks. But he does not, I think last week we knew that he did not have pancreatitis anymore, and it was just a matter of like cleaning up the damage from the pancreatitis. He was having to work, they were working on healing the damage from the pancreatitis that the pancreatitis did to the pancreas, to the spleen, to the kidneys, all of that. They are now confident that he can just rest at home to continue that process. So thanks to everyone who kept him and our family in your thoughts and prayers. We really appreciate it. It meant so much to us to have so many people praying for him. They do expect him to make a full recovery, which is miraculous. I know I've talked about this on the show before, but I've never seen anything like pancreatitis in my life. I mean, I have watched family members die of cancer, but I've never seen anything like it. As far as I'm concerned, the pancreas is the most dangerous organ in the body. So we need to invent an artificial pancreas, and everyone should get a pancreas replacement when they turn 21. That's what I think. 25. 25 is when your brain's finished developing. So we'll wait until 25 and then you can get your artificial pancreas. Donna Jet said, it is bad. It's so painful. Donna did contact me because it's something that she's unfortunately had to deal with in the past, which, you know, I cannot tell you. I've never seen anything like it. I had abdominal surgery. I was cut in half and I had to recover for 6 weeks, and that was nothing compared to this. I've had people I know and love die of cancer. I mean, I can't tell you. We have to abolish the pancreas. That's what I'm saying. But I understand that it performs important functions, so we can't just like abolish it. We have to replace it with a pancreas we can trust. So that's what we need. We need people to invent artificial pancreases, and then we can get rid of the real ones, and then everyone will be fine. Yeah, that's true, Melanie. If you have type 1 diabetes, if you have T1D, you can get your artificial pancreas before 25. In my future pancreas-free society, that's a perfect reason to get one earlier. So, anyway, okay. So what we're going to be doing in the series now is we're going to go through these pages and see where we can add embellishments. And this is something that I'm kind of like, I wish I had thought of this before, but this, whatever, it can be a learning opportunity, which is that, you know, the album was designed to be a showcase of sorts, so for the papers. And so what I'm thinking is, what I want is transparent pockets on these coffins to hold embellishments and tags and things, so that once all the embellishments and tags and things are pulled out, then you can still see the paper that we're trying to showcase. Now, the reason why it would have been good if I thought about this earlier is it obviously would be easier to put transparent pockets on things before they're glued down. But that doesn't mean that it's impossible to put transparent pockets on things. So let's talk about that. So first of all, just in the interest of time, because it is Thanksgiving next week in the US here, I mean, we don't want to be doing this forever. I'm not going to do anything additionally inside here. Okay, so we're just not going to decorate those. So we're going to be decorating this page, these two pages, and then finally this page. So it's a total of six of them. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece, I'm going to get some acetate, and honestly, mine's not probably acetate. Mine's probably, okay. So, I have, sheet protectors, and I have transparency film, right on transparency film. So I'm going to use a transparency film because it doesn't already have seams. And this is what we're going to do. Okay, let me get undo. Well, let's do this. Yeah, how do I want to do this? We'll do it a couple different ways. We'll do one where we just remove the piece entirely with undo. And then we'll do one where maybe we're a bit more clever than that. Okay, that's gonna be a little annoying, but we'll get through it. Okay, so luckily all the tape stayed with the coffin, so that we now don't have to worry about setting this down. We can just set it down anywhere. Okay, so we have a couple templates, but the template we really need is this one, because this is the template that's the same size as this. So when we go to make our pockets, that's what we're designing around. Okay, so my main thing is I want to figure out a way to, if we can have a pocket that goes from this corner to about halfway up there, or barring that, maybe this corner. I thought about this corner because, no, let's do this corner. That corner is definitely doable. Okay. So, first things first, let's get a piece of craft cardstock, and we're just gonna put it, I want it to go halfway up this side. So I'm going to center this on my desk. So this is the center. 1, 2, 3, and 7/8. 1, 2, 3, and 7/8. So I'm just going to angle this like that, like so. All right. And I think that's going to be how we do it. All right. Now I'm going to give it a little tape. So what, those of you who do celebrate Thanksgiving next week, I know the Canadians already finished. Theirs is in October. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges of this, just like 1 inch around the edges, and create a template. So but for those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, what are you doing? Are you traveling? Are you cooking? Are people coming over? Are you over Thanksgiving? You don't care anymore? Who cares? You're never eating turkey again. What's the plan? And then for this corner, I'm actually going to cut it twice, because I'm going to cut it once so that it lines up with that edge, and then once to get it cut down. And then these corners, I'm going to cut on a 45-degree angle. So this is a 45-degree line on my desk. I'm lining it up with the bottom of the coffin. Whoa! That's going to give me a 45-degree angle here on the side. And then all I need to do is just do it again. And that is going to create my coffin template. All right, so this is my coffin pocket template now. All right. So in terms of like measurements or whatever, the easiest way to do it is to just take a piece, if you want a coffin template, to just take a piece of scrap cardstock. And I use colors of cardstock that I just don't typically use. So that's what I use for scrap cardstock. If you have cardstock colors that you're like, I don't remember why I bought that. That color's kind of ugly. This is a good use for that. All right, now that we have that done, now that we have our pocket shape, we can go ahead and cut it out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my transparency, and transparencies are not totally straight, but it's not a big deal. I'm going to line up my transparency with a line on my desk, and I'm just going to then line the template, pocket template, up with the same line on my desk. And I think we're only going to be able to get one per transparency just because of the size of it, so that's okay. All right, so there's a couple ways that we can cut this out. I think the easiest way, normally I wouldn't do this, but I think it's just the fastest way, is just to cut with a knife, for kind of freehand it. Okay. All right, so now the question is, okay, how do we stick this down? So this is how we're going to stick it down. Is we're going to take our Coffin template and our, what is this? Scoreboard. And we're going to line our Coffin template up with our scoreboard. And there we go. There we go. And then once it's all lined up, okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a little piece of tape and stick it down. Just gently. And then on this last little edge here, I'm going to line, or the last score groove, I'm going to line my Coffin pattern paper up with not the groove, but like the edge of the raised part next to the groove so that the Coffin is not covering the groove. And then that will enable me to get down into the groove and score the paper. Or score the transparency only. I'm not trying to score the paper. I'm trying to score the transparency around the paper. Okay. And then all I have to do is just fold it over. And then perfect Coffin pocket. Okay. All right. So now all we have to do is just tape it down. So. All right. Okay. So now we can pull up the tape. All right. And now we have a pocket, a transparency pocket. Okay, so I'm just gonna, on the back, just burnish, get a nice crisp edge, and then we're gonna retape the Coffin. And then stick it down. And then we can just fill this pocket with all kinds of goodies. All right, so when I go to tape the Coffin, I'm just gonna make sure that my tape is just on the Coffin itself and not on the pocket. Because I don't want it to show through to the front. So make sure, you know. And then with these pocket pieces, I'm also on their free edge. Gonna just stick that down just to help it stay stuck down. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm making sure I can see a sliver of the paper so that I know that I'm not going to have any tape show on the front through the plastic. So for Thanksgiving, we are not cooking. And we are going to a restaurant. I just saw an article on my Google feed one day that was 2 Tampa restaurants make top 10 best Thanksgiving Day brunches in Florida or something like that. So, and I was like, oh, well, let me just see what they are. And one of them looked really good, and I checked, and they did have a slot open at 10. So the 4 of us are going at 10 to have a Thanksgiving brunch. So that's what we're doing on Thanksgiving. So, and then we're just going to, what we discussed possibly doing if we're not too tired and full, is playing a board game in the afternoon and putting on some Christmas music and maybe decorating for Christmas if we really feel frisky. And we want to have like very seasonal vibes or whatever. I would rate the possibility of the house actually getting decorated for Christmas around 10%. But we'll see. We'll see. If it were up to me, the Christmas tree would just stay decorated all year, and we would just put a sheet over it in the garage or something like that. That's my ultimate like life goal, is to just be able to do that. To have a place in the garage. Okay, don't stick, don't stick, don't stick. That's not where I want you, don't stick. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to just open it so I can burnish from the back to make sure it's stuck down as well as it can be. And now we have the new page. That's it. So the page is exactly the same as it was before, except now it has this transparency pocket that we're going to stuff with things. So let's get to stuffing. Stuffing, stuffing, stuffing. All right. So I'm going to pull a few things over. And think about what we might want to stick in there. All right. I'm going to set those a little bit to the side. And then I do have like paper scraps and things like this coffin that never got used that we might be able to use to back things that we want to stick in the pockets, as well as wow, so they just store the Christmas tree in the wall. That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate. All right, and so this stack has quite a lot of things that would make good backgrounds. This is the 8.5 by 11, but I'm just going to pull out the embellishments for starters. And then here's the stack of like embellishments. So, let's think about, yes, maybe, no, 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 maybe, no, maybe. so let's just pick somebody. All right, let's pick a few things. So let's go ahead and let's do this. Let's grab this, this, no, this. I'm going to take the pumpkin as well. Okay, we'll go ahead and take those. I'm also going to grab this head. Okay. And then I'm going to use those with, let's take this piece here. And then I'm going to go ahead and just trim this into more like a square, so it'll be easier to stick down to whatever we use as the backing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and set that to the side. Don't need this. From here, I don't want anything. We already have some creepy people, so let's just skip the rest of the creepy people and dolls. Not gonna use this. Let's go ahead and grab the Fright Night from here. Set that aside. Once again, trim this. All right. Don't need these. No. Let's grab October 31st from here. Because it is the first page. And again, I'm cutting things into squares because I'm going to back them all with various pattern papers from the collection to make them a little bit more interesting. Don't need that. Don't need that. With this, let's go ahead and grab this orange one on the corner. Talk about what we would do with that, what we could do with that. All right. Put that there. All right. From here, let's take the wing of the bat. Set that aside. I'm not going to use any of these right now. With these, let's go ahead and let's just take this one on the corner. And this one that says extinct. And just make decisions quickly. You don't really need to think. I mean, you already matted your thing, so you know what's coming. Like, we know the Edgar Allan Poe stuff is coming, so I'm not taking any Edgar Allan Poe stuff because we'll use that on the Poe pages, the Raven pages, that sort of thing. So I'm just thinking ahead because I know what I've got. On here, I'm looking for something that's like bat related. There is this one, so I'm going to grab that. Okay, set that aside. This one I'm going to put on the floor because I don't anticipate using it at all. This one, let's just grab. This Undertaker at the top here. And then this rough cut that I'm doing just makes it easier down the line to cut things out more delicately. There are people who will say not to rough cut things because it's a waste of time or energy or something like that. But the thing is that it's just a lot easier to handle for precise cutting if it's smaller. So I don't think it's a waste of energy. I think it actually ultimately saves you time and energy, but all right. So I think we're pretty good. No bats here, I don't think. Oh, look, actual bats. Okay, now from these pages, what we want are these upper bits. So what I want to do is just cut these so that they're just a little bit more manageable. Because we are going to use the larger ones as journaling spots, and then the smaller ones, we'll just put pattern paper on them. And they'll just be more decor. So I'm going to go through and now come back with the 8.5 by 11s. And what I'm going to do with the 8.5, this is from the 8.5 by 11 collection, is I'm going to cut them in half so that they're, if there's embellishments, I'm going to put it with the embellishments. But if there's not embellishments, like with this one, I'm going to keep it with these pieces of paper. So this little stack of scraps. And this scrap stack, you know, getting organized is very helpful with your embellishments in particular. Because then you can really kind of see what you have going on. All right, so here's my scrap pile over there. So here's more scraps. And then let's go ahead. Set that aside. All right, so somewhere I have the rest of the 8.5 by 11 sheets. I'm going to go look for them now. I think this is them. Yeah, they're on the back here. Just these two sheets are in front of them. Okay. I'm going to keep these on the floor, but I didn't print my embellishments on slightly thicker paper. I printed everything from this collection on the Epson paper. Okay, see here, these are the pieces I am most likely to use on the backs of things. All of these, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm going to keep these handy, but they're going to be on the floor, so you're not going to see them. All right. Okay, here we go. So let us go. All right. So just set this aside, and now we're gonna get to work. Oh, here's a little stack I didn't see. Oh no, don't need those. Okay. So let's talk about what I want to do with this and this. So I'm just going to put her there. So she's going to be in the frame. So the way I would handle something like this, which has such a delicate edge, is I would use a thicker tape when I go to tape it to whatever its background paper is. And that way, I mean, ideally glue is best. So go ahead and, use liquid glue. Liquid glue will make them stiff, and then they also will not stick to each other. So that's good if you are putting things in and out of pockets. But in the interest of time, because it just takes so long to use liquid glue, especially when you're want to stick two things together and then cut it out, you have to wait for the glue to completely dry. So we're just going to kind of motor. All right, so because this piece is going to be quite a bit larger on the back, I'm going to go ahead and back it on a more journaling type paper. So I want to grab one of those because it will be big enough to write on. So I'm going to cut this out. I'm not trying to be perfect, but I want to get rid of the white. And the reason I want to get rid of the white is because I don't want to take a chance of where I stick this down. I catch a little bit of the white and then, it's part pattern paper, part just plain white cardstock on the back. So that's why it's worth it to just cut the white off. Okay, then once that's cut off, I'm going to go ahead and I was looking for the green one, so I have momentarily forgotten that I don't have a green one anymore. And then I'm going to try and get this pretty straight. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and with this one, what I'm going to do is just like that, like so. Try and get as much of the edge as possible so I didn't go far enough towards the edge. All right, this one I'll cut out first. And ink it and then stick it down. now it's just gonna be cutting for the rest of the for the rest of the thing. So okay. Okay, so now that she's stuck down, or she's not stuck down, now that she's cut out, we'll stick her down. And then we'll go ahead and, there she goes. All right. Now we'll cut it out again. All right. Just gonna leave these on my desk because we'll probably use them / need them again later. And now we're gonna go ahead and cut these out. So yeah, so my brother's home. He says it's weird how quiet it is after, you know, how noisy hospitals are. But it's nice to see his kitties again. And it's much more restful. And yeah, you know, in the hospital they're like, well, you just need a rest. And it's like, well, this is the least restful place on earth. It's like... Alright, well, this is a little... Alright. One side done. All right. So yeah, so I'm getting, I think we're just gonna skip straight to, no, he has a friend and some people from work checking on him. And he's actually gonna see people from work all the time because the chef who at the restaurant where he works wants to make all his like recovery meals. So the restaurant's going to provide all his nutrition, they said, which is kind of just amazing. So it's a really great thing that they're doing. So he's going to see them, and he's got his phone if he needs any immediate help. But before they let him out, they made sure that he could do everything he would need to do at home. Like, they tested his ability to climb stairs without becoming short of breath, and whether or not he could get in and out of a shower that has a tub and all that kind of stuff. So he did a lot of work with the occupational therapy people to make sure it was safe to send him home. So I think they're not worried about his ability to care for himself. I don't think they would have let him out if he couldn't care for himself, because they also asked a lot of questions about whether or not he lived with anyone or if anyone could stay with him or that and that, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, the answer is kind of not really. So I think that's why they were careful with that. Oh, yeah. The one that fired him at the beginning of COVID. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that this is a much better place in a lot of ways. I think he likes it better. Because the one at the start of COVID, who fired everyone in the whole office or fire in the whole restaurant, he was also always extremely stingy. Like, he's just a stingy person. So, like, a lot of people who work in food service, like, rely on something called family meal for part of their food for the day. It's kind of like part of your compensation for work. And it's a way for the restaurant to use up like leftovers and things like that. And so a lot of restaurants will just, you know, that's how they use up leftovers, and they make things specifically for family meal. And that's what his current restaurant does. And his previous restaurant, they just made like boiled spaghetti noodles, and that's it, every day. So it's like they were aware of the concept, but they didn't really want to do it. So, and these are not like, this is a restaurant where, you know, people go in and spend $30,000 on a meal, $3,000 on a meal. Like, we're not talking about restaurants that have trouble making money. Or if they do, it's because they're bad at managing a business. You know what I mean? So, like, we haven't eaten at his new restaurant, but we have eaten at his previous restaurant. And, like, he was telling us that the part of the restaurant we were sitting in was Netanyahu, where Netanyahu sat when he would come to that restaurant. And that, and they, like, showed the table he would sit at and things like that. So, like, these are, like, the president of the United States eats there. These are the people that eat. Jeff Bezos eats there all the time when he's in Washington. These are the people that eat at these restaurants. So, you know, the fact that they won't even, like, make a meal for their employees is just really ridiculous. It's just shows you how bad employers can be. That even when there's kind of an industry standard, they're all, like, so many of them are trying to figure out how to just not do it. How to check the box without actually having to spend any money on it. So, like, I can't even imagine how that employer would have been with his extended illness. Whereas this employer said not to worry about coming back until after Christmas unless that, you know. So, yeah. So yeah, now, there we go. All right, so journaling spot now is what this is. So we're gonna go ahead and just ink the edges. And I'm not trying to perfectly ink everything. I'm just trying to, anywhere I see really bright white, make sure that it's kind of dulled down a little bit. And then I'm gonna flip it over and just repeat. Because I do want to kind of darken the edges on the back quite a bit. Okay, so then what do we do with this is we find our coffin. All right, so we're starting to build our pocket. All right, so let's go next to this one and stick it down. But yeah, so we'll see when he feels up to going back, but I mean, he definitely needs rest because it's been such an ordeal, but he needs some kitty therapy. Okay. All right, and then we'll go ahead and peel this. Okay. And then same with this one. I'm gonna try and put it down and get it as straight as we can. And then this one's gonna take much less time to cut out. And I actually love cutting stuff like this out. This for me, I find very enjoyable. This is what I like to do with like a movie, cup of coffee, that sort of thing. So I think that he asked me what was going on for Christmas, and I said, well, before this all happened, the parents were planning on coming down, you know. I was like, but like, I'm sure people will just want to do, you know, what you're kind of capable of. So I think that's going to be potentially like a day-by-day assessment. I know my parents said they would not come down if he wasn't well enough to come down, because they wouldn't want him to be alone for Christmas after just going through this whole thing. So maybe we do a split Christmas where we all just kind of hang down here and he and the parents are up there, or what. Okay, so we've got that card now. All right, so let's see what else we've got that we pulled out. All right, so where's my, oh, here it is. My wings of bat. I was hoping that these would be the same size so I could stick extinct on the back of the bat, and they are the same size, so we are going to be able to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them out carefully first, because they're the exact same size, so I don't have any wiggle room. So we don't have Christmas plans. Now I know my sister can't go up there for Christmas because they are doing she's out of vacation days. And they're going to need to spend some time with her husband's family at Christmas, since they're not going to see them for Thanksgiving, because they're going to be with us instead. So, well, luckily we already all saw each other not that long ago, because of everything that's happened. It seems like it was a really long time ago, but it was really not that long ago that my sister got married. And she got married at the end of May. So, you know, everyone was down here for that already. So, and then my brother we saw right before all this happened, because he was on vacation in Orlando with his girlfriend. And so we drove out to Orlando to say hi to them. And that was not that long ago. Because I know when my brother first got sick, you know, one of the things my husband said was he was just here, you know, because he was literally just here. So, you know, it happened. We saw him, like, you know, before he got sick, right before he got sick too. So, all right. There really are not enough vacation days. That's true. All right, so just gonna cut this out again. So yeah, just a reminder, it is Thanksgiving in the US next week, so there won't be shows on the 24th. And then that's the end of the month, so we'll see you again first Thursday of December 2022. That's when we'll be back. I hope everyone gets everything they want purchased for Black Friday purchased. Have a good Black Friday. Find all the deals you need to find, because good grief, things are costing money. Things are costing money. All right, so now we have our extinct bat. So, all right. Okay, now what do I want to put in? Let's go ahead and do October 31st. How can it possibly be Thanksgiving next week was the question I already asked. So, because when I read about the Thanksgiving brunches near us, and I was like, when is Thanksgiving? And Mr. Lifeguard was like, it's next Thursday. So, it feels early. It does feel early. I think it's as early as it can be, actually. So it's a little early in the year for it, but I mean, or early in the month for it, but you know, it's only a 7-day window that I think it ever is. So. All right, so now we don't have enough room left to use this as a journaling spot, so we'd have to cut a new one or use something else. It's a pretty big piece, so let's go ahead and just cut a new one. Okay. And I am ready. Okay. So now I'll just peel this and put it in the corner, and So we have some more of this background type paper. All right, that was easy. Easiest one yet. All right, October 31st. Go ahead and tuck that in there. All right, and let's see, what else did we grab? We grabbed these little bats. Okay, so the bats are a good way to use, hopefully, yes, this little bit here. I'll go ahead and cut them out. All right, and then all right. Now, all right. Woo! Okay. And we got a nice little bat. Bat number 2. So, yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to be having for Thanksgiving. I will give my general advice every year, which is that instead of pumpkin pie, consider pumpkin spice cheesecake, because it's basically tastes just like pumpkin pie, only it has a beautiful creamy texture and a crispy crust from the ginger snaps. So that's always excellent. Even pumpkin pie purists can get behind it. I guess the lactose intolerant probably can't get behind it. But aside from the lactose intolerant, well, and vegans. But aside from them, pretty much everyone, I don't think vegans can eat pumpkin pie anyway, though, because I think it has egg. Although there's probably a way to do it. Anyway, if you have a vegan, consult with them. But for everyone else, the cheesecake's pretty good. The cheesecake's pretty darn good. It's very spicy, very creamy. Got a crispy, crunchy crust. Just go find a recipe for pumpkin spice cheesecake. Or buy one from the Cheesecake Factory. And then don't do anything. The pie is easier to make. Cheesecake can be rough. I'm not going to lie. I've gotten good at it over the years, but it does require a springform pan, which not everyone has. So, you know, I get it. Oops, what was I going to... I didn't stick these down before I cut them out. Oh, I cut them. I now have to cut them out again. Blech. Well, that's fine. Whatever. Whatever. I was just too thinking about Thanksgiving desserts. Too much thinking about Thanksgiving desserts. So if everyone's coming down here for Christmas, what I might do for Christmas dinner is just try to do something we haven't done before, you know. So it's not like the same old stuff. I'll just ask my brother what he wants. Because if everyone's going to be here, it's going to be because he's down here, so. All right, so I'm going to try and but I know he and I talked about doing like a goose. Now, we did a goose one year. And it's a little bit tricky because it's so much higher in fat than a turkey that partway through you have to pour the fat out of the tray, or it can overflow. That's how much fat there is in a goose. So that even in a roasting pan, you have to empty the roasting pan partway through. And I remember my German teacher in high school, she was actually from Germany, and she once said that Germans save all the fat from their Christmas goose. And at the time, I did not realize how much fat we were talking about until I cooked a goose myself. So it's quite a bit of fat. But she said Germans save it, and when they're sick, they put it on toast instead of butter and they eat it, because whatever that protein is that's in chicken that makes chicken soup so good when you're sick, that's like times 1,000 in a goose. So it's actually got even more restorative property than chicken fat does. Now, the year we made a goose, did we do that? Did we save it and eat it on toast when we felt sick? No. We didn't. Because it was so much fat. It was terrifying. It was terrifying. So, I'm sure it probably depends, like what it tastes like probably depends on how good of a cook you are, right? So like if your goose is well flavored and used a lot of herbs and spices, and then I think it would probably be pretty tasty. I mean, it's not hugely different. Like it's, I mean, butter, which is what we put on toast, is just salted congealed cow milk fat, right? So it's not like it's so different in concept. But, you know, this year if I make a goose, I'll save it. I'll save the fat and tell you what it tastes like on toast. Ow, I'm getting a bad headache. Ugh. It's almost like I've been stressed or something. My hand is in pain. I don't know why I'm like, why do I feel bad? It's weird. All right, so, okay. So I think we'll put these guys in, and then that'll be, all right, so here's now our coffin. So it still opens same as it did before, only now we've got all these little goodies that can get pulled out of it to have, you know, have I made any cookies with my butter? Yes, I did actually. I made a ton. I used, I think, 3 pounds of butter. So the question was, I know you've been busy, but have you made any cookies with your butter? Because we cleaned out our freezer and we found like pounds and pounds of unsalted butter. I did use those to make, I want to say 4 batches, which is 18 cookies per, I'm sorry, not 18, 16 cookies per batch. So 16 times 4, whatever that is. Which, by the way, I think is a huge number. 84? Something like that? I don't know. You guys know I don't math, but 16 times 4, 64. Okay. Yeah, 64 makes way more sense. So anyway, I used it to make 4 batches of 16 cookies each of the Sally's Baking Addiction Ultimate Chocolate Chip Cookies, or Best Ever Chocolate Chip Cookies, or it's something like that. If you just Google Sally's Chocolate Chip Cookies, it'll come up. And they take about 3 hours to make total, because you have to chill the dough for at least 2 hours. So what I did was, I found she had instructions on baking them from frozen. So I got to them to the point where you form the cookies, and then I froze them in bags of 16. Bags of 16 or bags of 8? It might have been bags of 8. But anyway, I froze them and we're down to our last 8. Well, it's bags of 8 because we have one more bag of 8 frozen doughs. So, but we did make them, and it was dangerous to have ready to go, ready to bake cookies of our favorite cookie recipe. That was very dangerous. All right, so here we go. So that is page 1 decorated. Like I said, still functions the same. And you could throw photo mats back there too if you wanted to. I don't have any ready, so let's just skip that. But you could absolutely stick a couple photo mats back there. Now I'm wondering if I should make some additional photo mats. Let me just see if I have vertical photos. I just don't have the cardstock, so let me just cut some real quick. Oh. We'll put 2 photo mats in there, and that'll add 4 photos. So anyway, we ate them really, really fast. It was very dangerous, and we're probably not going to do it again. Gretchen's like, I told you. No, I don't know what the problem, because it was too easy to make them. So it wasn't there was not a real deterrent, you know? That was the problem. That was the problem. So... the wire's toast. So, the death knell of this trimmer, it's got to get a new wire. Well, I really underestimated how much laziness is what was stopping me from having cookies every night. I agree. I agree. All right, so I'm just going to cut. Ah! Ah! Oh! I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. That was upsetting for everyone. Remember? You want to hop up? I went to roll my chair back to cut on the big trimmer, and Kitty was like, "No, I'm standing right here, you jerk." She's still letting me have it. She's still letting me have it. She's in between screaming at me is purring while she accepts scritches. Kitty's doing great. I didn't roll over Marcel. I rolled over Kitty. Totally different. Totally different. All right, I guess it's a kitty per emission. Pintermission? Yeah. Pintermission sounds like something they would do on Pinterest. Like on HGTV, there'd be a Pintermission, and then they'd show you like an apartment on Pinterest. All right, I don't think I actually rolled over Kitty. She's a lot smarter than other cats around these parts. So she was just yelling because I got close. Which is fair, you know, from her perspective. It's probably pretty scary. Kitty doesn't hold too many grudges, so luckily she won't punish me too long. Will you, Kitty? Will you? Does that sound like an angry kitty? All right. Okay, so all right. There we go. All right. So then we should be able to just tuck these back behind everyone. Ah, love it. All right. Ta-da. So now it's totally stuffed. Totally stuffed. And we added 4 photos, so that's 4 plus 3, so 7 now. 7 photos. 7 photos plus this could be your 8th photo if you don't want to do a showcase of some kind. So there we go. That is the first one totally decorated. Is that coffin for you so I can have a rest? It's so funny because last night, after we'd already talked about what was for dinner, Mr. Lifeguard texted me and said, I just want to say up front that I understand that you already answered this question, and that, you know, whatever happens next is my fault for not remembering, and I apologize in advance. And so I just sent back this GIF. That's just what I sent back. Just get in. Just get in. So. All right. Okay, so that was that. So there we go. All right. So, all right. That is it for this episode of what we are of the Coffin album. So like I said, we've already done all the insides, the matting and all of that. So now we're just going back through and adding embellishments. So that's all our embellishments for this first page. We've got photo mats. It's looking nice and juicy and stuffed. And then again, the whole point of this album is to provide you with paper showcase. So, you know, you can still see all the beautiful papers. So that's what we're doing. Paper showcase. Paper showcase. So that you can really see all the different things in the album. So we're going to continue with adding embellishments. And the next set will be these two right here. So we've got the woman with the snake, and then the 2 women with all doing the potions and spells and such. So that's what's coming up. So yeah, we've done all the, yeah, Monica, you missed the math, and now we're on to the more fun part. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So, and this is going to be that ground Poe one. So this one will focus on spell components and things of that nature. So I'm going to do a recording break here. For those of you who are watching live, just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you all. For those of you who are watching in the archives, just skip ahead to the next video to see the rest of this class. And if you're watching on YouTube, check the playlist to see if the next video is out yet. If it's not, it'll be out within 24 hours or so. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, I have classes every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. We do projects like this all year long. So be sure to join me live and see what we're going to do next. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.